Who won QB1? Who is QB1? QB1 or QB lost? I don't know. I'm dumb. These are questions that we're going to answer today on Village Vice. He's Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law.
What was that?
I don't know. I told you I'm dumb. Today's show is brought to you by mybookie.ag. For a limited time, they are tripling your deposit in the casino. Yeah, they triple your casino deposit at mybookie.ag. Plus, they give you 50 free spins. 50. Wow. Yeah. Take advantage of that at mybookie.ag, and we appreciate them sponsoring the show. Okay, so quarterbacks have come in. Quarterbacks have left, at least one that we know of. And we believe another is coming in. And at the end of the day, who's the starting quarterback going to be? Isn't it interesting, Zach, if I can go on a monologue right off the beginning of the show? Your starting quarterback used to be a guy that you followed through the recruiting process as a fan. You followed him through the recruiting process. You might have watched him play in an Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. And then you watched his career in college unfold as he sat behind your current starter. And then his junior or senior year, he became the starter. But you knew about the guy for 6 years before he ever became your starting quarterback. Now, Auburn's starting quarterback is probably going to be somebody that you weren't thinking about being Auburn's starting quarterback 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, it'd be almost surprising if Auburn's starting quarterback next year was on the roster. So yeah, no question about it. No question about it. So Malik Murphy, the Duke quarterback, visits and leaves. And typically in this transfer portal era, if you visit and leave without a deal, it happens, but that's not typically where you end up. And so now Jackson Arnold, the Oklahoma quarterback, is expected to kind of be the next guy up. And to me, it seems like that's the most likely option to be Auburn's starting quarterback next year. If I had to pick right now, as we record this Thursday afternoon, Jackson Arnold, I think, would be the betting favorite. If my bookie put out a line, I think Jackson Arnold would be the betting favorite.
Yeah. Looking at his numbers, again, numbers are numbers. They're not everything. 63% career completion percentage. He had 1,400 yards. He didn't play the whole season last year. A 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Was sacked 34 times last season.
Yeah.
Mobile quarterback also had double-digit carries in more games than he didn't, and had one game where he had 20-plus carries. So you don't put as much weight on having, or not weight, you don't put as much emphasis on needing a quarterback with running ability, do you?
I don't, just because of the way Hugh Freeze used Thorne this year. And I think they should have ran the ball with Thorne more than they did. But that's my argument. And I don't know if it's a very strong one, but
you're saying
to me, I think decision-making is what matters. And I don't, has Jackson Arnold shown that he can do that on a consistent level at Oklahoma? I don't know if he did, Brad.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I haven't seen a lot of his games from start to finish. 20-plus pass attempts most of the time. Had one game with 30. It was their loss to South Carolina. They were behind. They had to throw a lot more. 4 touchdowns against Temple. 7 of his touchdown passes were against non-conference competition. Did not have a touchdown pass in the last 3 games of the year. Lost to Missouri, went over Alabama, lost to LSU. But as we have talked many times, how much of that's him? How much of that is the team? How much of that do you ask the quarterback to elevate the team? And that's an interesting question in and of itself. What kind of quarterback does Hugh Freeze need for the 2025 Auburn offense?
Yeah, to me, I mean, I think you want a guy who can make decisions and be accurate with the football. Now, one thing I want to say, because I don't want to sound like I'm being hard on Jackson Arnold or anything like that, because when you talk about upside and ceiling, I think Jackson Arnold has, the highest ceiling probably in this portal class when you talk about quarterbacks. I mean, this is a guy who's a former 5-star, he was the number 1 recruit out of Texas the year he was coming out. I mean, this is This is a guy who has been highly touted every step of the way.
Still has half of his career to go. Like he's
which if it ever becomes official, like that's a discussion in and of itself with how much ability he has left. That gets a little interesting then when you think about what does that mean for Walker, what does it mean for Deuce. But some people like that he's got multiple years of eligibility. Some people will say no, like it's time for Walker or Deuce to compete for it next year. So I think there's two sides of the coin with a lot of what you look at with Jackson Arnold potentially being Auburn's guy.
You follow more NFL football than I do. I follow it, but you follow it more closely.
Okay.
How many NFL quarterbacks take less money to play on successful teams?
Not a lot.
No. In other words, in the NFL, it's about your contract. Your agent's trying to get you the biggest contract. You want the biggest contract. It's a money-driven decision.
Sure.
The overwhelming majority of the time. And by the way, as most decisions are, that's just kind of our life. That's our culture. So,
well, I mean, I can't think of a time. Well, that's not entirely true, but for the most part, like in life, like there's very few instances professionally where it's like, I'm going to take a lower salary because the people in this office are nicer. Now, there are examples of that, a bad boss or something like that. But most of the time, you just kind of deal with it. And you go with whatever is best for your family. But there are exceptions. Sure. I don't know where you're going with this, so I shouldn't have said anything.
I say all that to say, how many multi-year starters are we going to see in the portal era unless they're with teams that are already in the playoff? If you're not in the playoff, and even some of them are going. Boise's quarterback announced he's jumping in the portal after their run in the playoffs. So you're in an environment.
Which is wild.
It is.
It's crazy.
But you're in an environment now. They don't have the NIL support. He's going to get more money somewhere else.
Yeah.
Taylor Green got more money somewhere else. You can't compete at Boise with what somebody in the Big Ten or the SEC is going to give you. So what is the incentive in a world that's driven by the contract? What's the incentive to stay? Don't you owe it? If you're a quarterback at San Jose State or Cal or Boise or, you name the school that's not an SEC or Big Ten school. If you're the quarterback at UCF, Oklahoma State, you're in the Big Ten or the ACC. Why wouldn't you jump in the portal every year and go someplace different if you can get more money?
Yeah. And once again, everybody enters the portal for a different reason. We've had that conversation 1,000 times, but if it's purely financial, sure. Yeah.
I'm talking about as a starting quarterback. If you're a starting quarterback and you want to go and you have the opportunity to jump in at the end of next year. We got guys, you now have a half a dozen or so guys that are going to be at their fourth school in 4 or 5 years at the quarterback position. And I'm just saying, I guess that's the world that we've created where we allow max free agency every year in college football. You're almost doing yourself a disservice as a player if you don't go out and see what you can get. If money, I'm not saying I love it. I'm not saying I love the fact that money's driving all of it for everybody. Money's driven it for almost everybody for a long time. But I'm saying since it does, why wouldn't you?
Sure. I don't really get the point that you're making here. Like, are you supporting these guys and making more money?
Yes.
I'm not following. Okay.
What I'm saying is the idea of having a multi-year starter, like we need to not think that way anymore. It's not going to happen in a lot of places where you're going to have multi-year starters at the quarterback position.
It's probably going to happen in the SEC more than anywhere else because can't really move up anymore.
Correct. If, for example, whether it's Malik Murphy or Jackson Arnold, if one of those guys comes in and Auburn goes to the playoff, they both have multiple years of eligibility. Then it could happen. Probably would happen, I guess, in that regard. I just don't we're wired to think of, it's the point that I made at the beginning of the show. We're wired to think about our starting quarterbacks differently because of the way it has been. And I just think we have to stop thinking about it that way. Quarterbacks are in the last year. If you look at it in NFL terms, they're
Can
in
I
the
push
last.
back on this? Can I push
Sure.
back? I mean,
Sure.
let's look at the top teams in the conference. Quinn Ewers, multiple year starter in the SEC. Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Carson Beck, Nico will start multiple years at Tennessee. It appears Taylon Green will do that at Arkansas. So I don't. Lenora Sellers at South Carolina. In the SEC, I don't think that's the case. In the smaller conferences, I'm more likely to agree with you.
You don't think Lenora Sellers is getting offers from other places? You don't think
he is? I think he is, but I mean, that's like anywhere else. As far like, you don't think Jackson Dart got a raise at Ole Miss before this season? Like, I don't know if that's I don't know if that's.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're saying the current climate doesn't support multi-year starters
outside of the SEC and the Big Ten.
Okay, that's fine. Sure.
And I would say even the top half of the SEC and the Big Ten. Mississippi State's losing their potential multi-year starter. I'm trying to think of the other teams that are even in that, could even have that discussion. But
I mean, that's the only one I could think. I mean, Vandy, Pavia is suing the NCAA trying to get another year or whatever. Is Vandergriff coming back at Kentucky? I assume he is.
And wouldn't Pavia have an opportunity to go somewhere else and earn much more if he were to win? Like,
he could. I don't know if he would. I mean, I think he seems pretty loyal to what Vandy's done, but he could. Sure. I don't. Yeah. So anyway, going back to Auburn.
Yeah.
I think Jackson Arnold is most likely the guy moving forward, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens. And if you're Hugh Freeze and his staff, whoever it is, you've got to decide and make it public quick, or I think it's going to hurt you both regarding retention and regarding, getting these guys via the portal. So we'll see what that looks like.
And receivers and running backs and offensive, like the just as it is in high school recruiting, that's a pretty critical element to the class. And when you get a portal quarterback, that impacts other people's decision making too. Yeah,
as it should, especially. I mean, I would think it would matter more than than it does in recruiting because it's immediate. Yeah, there's no, you're not heating it up. It's already ready to go.
Could be a 1-year thing. So let me make the decision with that info. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially with, some of the Eric Singleton Jr., the receiver from Georgia Tech who's been here. So, hey, want to tell you about our friends at Roback, It's the best place to get. Is that what you're wearing under there?
Yeah. Got the Roback polo today.
How could you get even more handsome than you already are?
I know. It's almost not fair.
Yeah. I mean, especially you whip out the Roback. It's like, goodness gracious. They've got the best collared shirts, the best polos, the best quarter zips, the best hoodies, hats. They've got like jogger pants if you're into that sort of thing. They've got it all over at Roback.com. Super, super easy one-stop shop for several folks. Just knock them out on your Christmas list. Roback.com. Use promo code VICE20, VICE20, VICE20 for 20% off your order. When you go to the checkout page, odds are Roback is going to have this site-wide promotion and it's going to already be filled in your promo code. Click the X, take it out, type in VICE20. Our deal will be better, and you're supporting the show. Roback.com. Use promo code VICE20.
Before we talk about the schedule a little bit, you have any reaction to the all-freshman team and who was included and who was not included from Auburn on the list?
Tell me who was included and who wasn't included.
All right. Cam Coleman.
Was included?
Was included.
Okay.
Braden Joyner was included.
Oh, good for him.
Caleb Harris was not included.
That's wrong.
Jay Crawford was included.
Okay.
DeMarcus Riddick was included. Malik Blockton was not included. And that is the list.
The one I disagree with most, obviously, is Caleb Harris. I think he was exceptional. Do you know who the safety was that was put in over him?
The safeties are KJ Bolden, Boo Carter. Is Boo a corner or is he a safety? The defensive backs were Jay Crawford, KJ Bolden, Boo Carter, Xavier Brown.
Those are good players.
Yeah.
Those are good players. Much more highly ranked, and Caleb Harris was just as good as all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Which speaks to what he's going to be. Man, that secondary is going to be good. That's such a good room.
They're dialed in too, man. They're
Yeah.
dialed in too. I talked to a few of them, or a few of their camps, I guess.
I think
Over
Caleb's
the
a
last
part of
few
that.
weeks.
Caleb's a big part of that too. Like he's a pretty vocal guy, I think, in that group, a leader.
Yes, get in the boat, or he's gonna have a problem with it.
There you go.
In like a respectful, like leader way. Like, we're here to win. Let's don't aim for anything else.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love Jay Crawford, I think, is there. Kay and Lee, I think, is there. I mean, it's a good group. It's a good group for sure. Very excited to watch them grow up. And I got a feeling they're going to take a big step forward this offseason. And they should be able to showcase it. I mean, you look at Auburn's 2025 schedule that was released earlier this week, Brad. I said on another show, like, I think this puts more pressure on Hugh Freeze just because of how manageable the schedule is in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, look, starting at Baylor is much tougher than starting at home against Alabama A&M, but I'd rather, after seeing, after the way the first month fell out last year, I think I'd rather open up at Baylor and get a real true sense of kind of what you have in game one.
The whole like, oh, we're overlooking Baylor talk. It's like, man, like we shouldn't be in this. We shouldn't be where we are. We're like, we have to be concerned about Baylor. That's not where we should be as a football program.
I know.
I get respecting them. I get respecting them.
Yeah.
And not overlooking them, and long off season and season one, or it's week one, so you never fully know. But
yeah, look, all I said is they're better than Alabama A&M.
They are.
I'm not saying they're a playoff team next year. It's a better test for all the way around than Alabama A&M. And your first two conference games are on the road. I don't love that either.
I don't love the back-to-back either. Yeah. Yeah. You, I mean, honestly, if you win one of those and then take care of business, hosting Missouri at Arkansas, Kentucky at home at Vandy, should be in a good spot.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. You get Georgia after a bye week. You get 2 weeks to prep for Alabama because of Mercer right before them. Like, I just...
You can make a lot of hay the back half of that schedule.
Yeah, just survive it.
Yeah.
Just survive the first half.
Yeah. Get
to the bye week with one loss.
Yeah.
And you're in a great spot.
And I admit, I can see it on your face too. We did so much of this last year, and then things fell the way they did really throughout the year. It feels
what
so
made
weird.
This year so disappointing.
Yeah, I know.
It's because what was right in front of you, and no one wanted to grab it. Not one person did enough to make it feel like they wanted to, overachieve and do what was expected of them.
It feels so strange to do a game by game, knowing the way the season turned out.
No, unless something changes culturally, they will fall short of expectations.
Yeah, I think the guys
can you change it? Can you change it? Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they can't, but if you don't do it, Brad.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, and 6-6 or like 6-6 and 7-5 with this schedule is not good enough anymore. You can't do it again. You can't do it again.
Yeah. No, I don't push back on that. I don't push back against that.
Which would stink for the talent that's on the roster, for the coaching staff and everything they've done off the field. It would really stink to waste this super favorable schedule that Auburn has.
Yeah. Well, and
it's not going to be this easy again.
Yeah. And I get that everybody else. Oh no, because after 25, look at the teams that roll onto your schedule, and Georgia and Alabama don't go away. The teams that are rolling on are different than Texas rolls back on, LSU rolls back on, Ole Miss rolls back on,
Florida
rolls on, Tennessee, brother,
South Carolina,
brother, 26 and 27 schedule.
This is it.
They are rough. It's like an SEC basketball schedule.
Because if you don't do this, the fallout will be tremendous.
Yeah. Big year.
It's so important.
Yeah.
If they fall short this year in 2025 with this schedule.
And it is about attitude. It is about mentality. It's not pressure. I hope we don't fail. We're not going to. Let me be the one. You need like 70 guys to say, 70 is probably too big of a number, but you probably need 20 guys who will band together and go, I will be the one.
Yeah, you need more than 20. You need more than 20. The issue is they're so young, and I don't know how many of those guys, because I think they do have more than 20 guys that are alphas that say, I'm him. I'm going to do this. Just don't know how much they're going to play because they're 18, right?
Yeah.
And so they got to kill it in the portal. They got to kill it in the portal.
Yeah. And because you can't afford at this point to just play all the 18-year-olds and take bumps and learn from losses the way you could have 2 years ago.
Yeah. Or even this year.
Correct.
This year.
Yeah, so that's right. That's right.
There's just no excuse for it. I mean, you're going to have so many guys that are going to be primed and respected by the NFL. And
yeah,
I mean, I don't think you can do the whole no talent thing. I'm still building thing anymore, especially if you go out and get your quarterback. And if he really likes Jackson Arnold as much as some people are saying he does, all right, this is it.
And if he does, then that's the call. And that's like that. That's what I believe this about head coaches. If the head coach wants something, whatever it is,
you should get it.
Then everybody's got to fall in line in the organization, falls behind the head coach, and they line up and they go, all right, then let's ride and come what may. And if it works, then it works. And if it don't, it don't. But we're all riding with the man that's at the head of it.
Yeah. And we're all on the same page.
That's right.
And it's like, let's see. We're trusting you. Hope it works. Hope it works. I know you have a heart out. Do you have time to talk about hooping for just a second?
I do. Yeah, I sure do. By the
Auburn,
way,
Ohio State, holiday hoops giving.
What? On the subject of that heart out, if you're watching this before 6 o'clock, come to Tiger Talk. It'd be great. We'd love to see you at Tiger Talk. Okay.
I hope this is up by 6. I really do. I really do.
And if it's not, forget I said that. Yeah. Atlanta. Do you know it takes less time to get to State Farm Arena in Atlanta than it does to get to the BJCC in Birmingham? Atlanta is an Auburn city. And there's going to be a lot of Auburn people out there Saturday to watch the Tigers and the Buckeyes.
Especially for the folks that live in Opelika. It's even closer.
Yeah, that's right.
Just Shout out to my Opelika people.
Yeah. That's right.
I-85 all the way there. No, I think this is going to be so fun. I'm going to be watching this game with my wife's family who's in town. We're doing our Christmas this weekend.
And they're Ohio State people, aren't they?
Yeah, he's an Ohio State grad.
They like that Michigan-Ohio State game?
Haven't brought it up.
Okay.
They brought it up, and I'm like, I don't know. You're in the playoff. I don't feel bad for you. You know what I mean? It's like our situations aren't the same.
Fair.
I'm proud of you for bringing up Michigan, though.
Well, I hadn't done it yet on the show.
Yeah, I don't think you've done it this week. I'm proud of you. I think that's called growth.
Michigan almost beat Arkansas in basketball the other night. Almost.
Okay, that's enough, Michigan.
Okay.
That's enough, Michigan.
Trey Donaldson plays for Michigan.
Okay. You done?
I guess.
You done? We're almost out of time. You done?
Sure, I'll be done.
All right. Ohio State is a 29th team in KenPom.
Okay.
Neutral site game. This will be a quad 1 win if Auburn's able to pull it off. Obviously, it would be a quad 1 win for Ohio State if Ohio State were to be able to pull it off. But to me, I think this is a great opportunity, another incredibly great opportunity for Auburn to say, okay, you don't think we're the number 1 team in the country despite having the best resume and all of college basketball. Well, here we go. Here we go. Still having the chip on their shoulder. And I've watched a little bit of Ohio State, and they seem like a good team, but they have lost games they're not supposed to. Yeah. And you can't say that about Auburn yet.
No, you really can't. They're a guard-oriented team. They got 3 guys, I think, in double figures. They're not going to score 100 points a ball game. Often. They have twice, but that was against Campbell and Green Bay. This is different. And against a guard-oriented lineup, Auburn typically fares well because they play defense so well. So I would imagine this to be pretty competitive into the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think your depth and your pace of play and all that probably wear down Ohio State, and Auburn's in good shape at the end. They played well at this event previously too. I think they lost to Memphis 2 years ago, but otherwise they've been really good at this event.
Yeah. Yep. So. Anything else to add? I think Jedi Broom's going to be a mismatch problem.
Yeah. I mean, they insert that into most games this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've played kind of the games where it's like, okay, here's kind of where it's questionable. Duke, Houston, Arizona State, and he was fine in those games too. So,
and he has improved Chaney and Dillon's games as well. I don't want to take away from their work, but he makes them better too. It's really fun to watch. So they're an inside mismatch problem all the way around as a unit, not just individually.
Yep. I think that does it for today's show, my guy.
It does. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We may be up over 6,000 subscribers by the time you are watching this. So help us get to 7, would you? Thank you.
Hey, and if you are watching on Thursday, today is the last day you can sign up at thebarnauburn.com and get that first month for $1. Today is the last day. We're going to be doing an annual deal starting in January. But if you just want to try it for a month for $1, now is the last day for you to do that. So hop on that, thebarnauburn.com.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching and commenting. Remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.